What is going on with all of my people of social media? I am D Venom, along with Feathered Friends. Thank you guys for joining us in regard to addiction, relapse, and recovery. Any amount of your guys' positive energies are always welcome on all of my social media platforms. Not just this one, all of them. Anyway, with all of that being said, I'm here to reach out to my people of addiction, relapse, and recovery, and or the non, and share a bit of information with you guys, along with talk about withdrawal. I did not realize that I'm going through the withdrawal phase until I talked to my psychiatrist colleague last week, and we kind of narrowed some things down in regard to symptoms, and come to find out it's not the naltrexone, which is the medication that's used to block the cravings of opioid abuse, heroin abuse, and methamphetamine abuse. We narrowed it down, and come to find out I'm going through withdrawal. Anyway, at Withdrawal, I was shown this particular video that centers around addiction and these rat experiments that they did. And what we think we know about addiction is all motherfucking wrong. And I think everybody should watch this video. It has 293K likes, 12,288,973 views. And the video was released July 9th of 2015. Anyway, it's a fascinating video that basically talks about addiction. This guy grew up in a family that unfortunately dealt with addiction. And I guess he was so torn by it that he wanted to know what he could do to help them family members that were suffering from it. Anyway, the video is called Everything You Think You Know About Addiction Is Wrong. And the person that is talking about, addiction is John, Johhann, Hari or Harry, Hari, and then TED. I'm not sure what that stands for, but it was all in caps, TED. Anyway, like I said, 293K likes and 12,288,973 motherfucking views. That lets you know something right there. Anyway, very informative video. And if you feel like it, comment below and let me know what you think about it after watching it. And we can have a discussion. Anyway, as long as I've been, addicted to methamphetamine, I don't think I've ever gone through withdrawal the way that I went through it a couple of weeks ago. I can say back in the past, I've given myself about a 2-month hiatus from methamphetamine. And if I did go through withdrawal, I quickly fed my cravings methamphetamine so that I wouldn't experience any of that shit. Anyway, now that I'm taking my walk with recovery and sobriety a lot more seriously, my body is not liking that. My body is wanting that drug because it's used to having that drug on an intermittent basis, and I'm not giving in. So my body is fighting with my spirit and my mind. And, the body wants what the body wants, but the spirit and the mind wants to be clean and sober. And, I think that's where the withdrawal is coming from. Anyway, I recall starting naltrexone, which is a medication that is used to block the cravings of opioid abuse, heroin abuse, methamphetamine abuse. I blamed it all on the naltrexone. I started the medication at 50 milligram. And in the beginning, I will say the naltrexone did not agree with my stomach. And it had me feeling ill on a couple of occasions. It was when I went to Withdrawal and told them about what I was going through symptom-wise in regard to the naltrexone, is when I was advised to cut the pill in half and take it for 4 days at 25 milligram and then bump it back up to 50. But I suggested if I'm going to do that, I may as well take 25 in the morning, take the other half at night, and let that be the reason. Anyway, I also remember when I first went to Withdrawal for initial intake, I was sicker than a dog, and I blamed it all on the medication. I did not know that I was going through withdrawal. Before I even got to Withdrawal, I had to pull over to 7-Eleven to get, a Sprite or something to settle my stomach. And it settled it for a while. But once I got to Withdrawal, it was a whole different story. All 3 intakes that I had to go through, I got sick. I remember throwing up the pill and I felt a lot better, but I was still going through those symptoms of withdrawal that I still associated with the naltrexone medication. But that was all withdrawal, and I was just ignorant to it all. D Venom don't go through withdrawal. I'm exempt, but come to find out I'm not. Anyway, they took my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was about nearly 160 something over whatever bottom number. And I was borderline stroke. I didn't realize this. So when I talked to the medical personnel at Withdrawal, they were concerned about those numbers, and they wanted me to go to the ER, which is right across the walkway, from Withdrawal, and check myself in. But I had already been with Withdrawal for 4 or 5 hours. No, I'll say 4 hours. I don't want to over exaggerate. And I was tired. And the only thing I wanted to do was Taylor Swift that shit and shake it off. Go home and shake it off, sleep it off, shake it off, and be done with it. Because what I went through was, throwing up, the pit of my stomach literally twisting in knots, profusely sweating, hot cold flashes, the insomnia, can't sleep at night. That's why they had me on hydroxyzine. I was on hydroxyzine back in my Vegas years for sleep. And I don't know what happened, but I don't know what happened in regard to why I weaned off of hydroxyzine, but I don't have an issue with hydroxyzine. I actually like hydroxyzine, and I was glad that they incorporated it in my life then, and I'm glad that it's in my life now, because I was losing out on sleep. And from my understanding, when you go through withdrawal, you have to get as much medication, as much sleep as you possibly can, because your body is going through changes. Your brain is going through changes, and you need as much sleep in order for those things to happen. You have to change your diet. Some people eat a lot of fruit and cut out a lot of meat or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of things that have to change because of the fact that I abused methamphetamine for so many years. I just know that this thing with withdrawal is just the beginning of the iceberg. The throwing up and all of that stuff. Because from what my psychologist colleague told me, some people have been hospitalized, and they even went on further to tell me if I continue to have symptoms of withdrawal, like how I've been having them, I'm going to have to go to the ER and pretty much be monitored to make sure that everything is fine, and I don't go into a stroke or whatever. The last time that I had my blood pressure measured or done at Withdrawal, it was a decent number, so I'm happy about that. I don't think, not saying that I'm better than anybody else that have walked this journey and been through withdrawal and whatever, I don't think that I'm going to be going through withdrawal that bad. Considering I have the naltrexone in my life blocking, the cravings of methamphetamine. I have other barriers like the meetings in Withdrawal and my podcast here. I have other measures that'll keep me from, relapsing. I don't think it'll be that easy for me to relapse this time around. But I just want to know what I'm ahead. I just want to know what I'm facing moving forward in regard to withdrawal. I have group tonight, and I'm going to bring this up to them because I want to hear I want to hear stories in regard to what people went through. How did they overcome it? What did they do? Did they change their diet? Did they stop doing this or doing that to better deal with withdrawal? I want to know these things so it can better help me deal with what I'm going through. The twisting of the stomach and the vomiting and all of that shit and the headaches and not being able to sleep at night, baby, I cannot deal with any of that shit. Considering I dealt with it and I don't want to deal with it again. It's pretty much what the fuck I'm trying to say, because it's not anything nice. But anyway, I'm going to end this. I just wanted to let y'all know that for a while, I've just been ignorant to it all in regard to withdrawal. And I blamed it all on naltrexone. And I'll come to find out, after being in this regimen of 25 milligram in the morning, 25 at night, I'm not going through those symptoms of withdrawal. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just all fucked up in regard to it all, because I just really thought that I would not go through any of this. And here I am, going through withdrawal. My body wants this drug and is not getting it. Anyway, 10:33 time of the recording. Anyway, I'm going to end this because I have to get ready for tonight's meeting and go from there. But you guys be strong. If I can make it through what I'm making, if I can make it through this thus far, and trust me, I went, weeks of withdrawal, lying on the couch, sleeping, just feeling lethargic. I mean, I went through it for a few good weeks before I even got up off the futon and did anything for my damn self, because I was going through withdrawal that bad. But here I am, once again, blaming it on naltrexone. Anyway, I'm going to end this, and until my next piece of content, you guys be strong. You guys got this. Sometimes we got to go through the hard shit in order to make it to, to the good shit. So let's make it through this withdrawal. And, until then, happy sober living. Namaste.